It is Saturday night at Comic-Con, and we are glad to bring it to you live right here on 10 News, 10news.com, 10 News Facebook, our coverage of Comic-Con. I'm Jeff Lasky, joined again by Mark Saunders, and we are live at the Chuck Jones Gallery here on 5th Avenue, just having a tremendous time and a lot of big highlights. Saturday, movie day, and traditionally a lot of the biggest celebrity appearances happen, and certainly that fit the bill today.
Right, it didn't disappoint. You were there this morning with Steven Spielberg coming out for Ready Player One, as well as Harrison Ford, Ryan Gosling for the new Blade Runner movie, and of course with the rest of the Hall H panels today, Stranger Things showing up with the full cast, excuse me, and right now Marvel Studios, from what I hear, they're making their impact, of course, with everybody from Thor and Black Panther later this year.
So we've got a lot of the great moments from Comic-Con for you today. We also have some exclusive 10 News interviews coming up a little bit later on the show. My conversation with comic star Seth Rogen about his new project. He's got a new TV show coming out on Hulu called Future Man. Not only do I talk with Seth Rogen about that, I also caught up with the star of the show, Josh Hutcherson, who is no stranger to Comic-Con because of his strong role in the Hunger Games movies. So Seth Rogen and Josh Hutcherson, not easy to say, as I'm finding out quickly, will be joining us later on in the show. And then a personal highlight for me also coming up as special guests on our show later on, my conversation with the Impractical Jokers. They're always one of the big hits here at Comic-Con. It's my personal favorite show. James Murray, Brian Q. Quinn, and Sal Vulcano will be joining me, and we're going to have that all for you. So a lot to look forward to from another wild day at Comic-Con.
We got a lot to get through. It's Saturday. Good stuff happens on Saturday. This is the day you have to be down here, basically, to enjoy the panels, to enjoy all the Offsite stuff. If you miss Saturday, it's the one day you shouldn't. Sorry.
And the fun thing for us being down here at the Chuck Jones Gallery is we have this tremendous viewpoint. So you can see right over our shoulders, just the middle of this crowd here. You never know what we're going to have going on behind us. In fact, yesterday here on the show, we actually were pulling people in off the street who were coming and showing us what they were doing, having a great time. So you'll see kids sneezing in the background. You never know what's going to happen. Having fun out here. And actually, just to give you kind of a peek of where we're at, literally right behind us, you'll see a line, because these are the folks who have been waiting for probably at this point hours to get into the Netflix experience, and we're actually going to talk with some of those folks a little bit later as well.
Right, yeah. One of them was gracious enough to spend the time waiting outside to let us know what it's like spending a day in a line for something outside of the convention hall that they didn't have to pay hundreds of dollars for a badge for.
Let me ask you this. Would it be creepier if the guy over my shoulder really was William Shatner and not a William Shatner look-alike, or is it creepier that it's a look-alike and not William Shatner?
Where's Spock? That's my question.
He's been around here, actually. We've been seeing them
both there.
Yeah, they're having a lot of fun here at the Chuck Jones Gallery, and they've been great to host for us. So let's jump into some of the great moments that we were able to capture being around Comic-Con today. And it started in Hall H this morning with the big Warner Brothers panel. It's always one of the biggest of the year. It's one where it is such a big deal that they actually take away the curtains around and they put in additional screens. So it's a full room experience to see all the preview footage. And one of the big thrills was a rare appearance, only the second time ever at Comic-Con, for Steven Spielberg. That actually surprised me that he hasn't been here more.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to the kind of movies that usually headline Hall H and Comic-Con, Steven Spielberg's name really isn't attached too often. So I think when we have that opportunity, definitely getting him down here is a big deal for not only Comic-Con, but the fans, of course.
So I had an opportunity to get some shots of Steven Spielberg coming out and talking about his new movie, Ready Player One. So let's go ahead and roll it.
An up-and-coming filmmaker that you guys might, I really try to remember his name. He's going to do big things. Please welcome Steven Spielberg!
For me, the thing that really made me want to tell the story, more than anything else, was the amount of, the kind of world that 2045, 44 gives to people, which is so dystopian and so much, people are leaving the country, and all of a sudden virtual reality gives you a choice, gives you another world you can exist in, and you can do anything in that world. Anything you possibly could imagine, because there are haptic suits.
he's one of those people that it's just kind of amazing to be in his presence for
Right.
whoever was 50, 60 feet away from him.
Yeah, I passed through the convention hall earlier after the panel. They were doing an autograph session. TJ Miller, the rest of the cast was there as well. And just passing by, you heard people actually stopping, and they weren't even taking pictures. They were just looking at each other going, that's the greatest director on the face of the earth right now, and he's standing just feet away signing things. And then they went and took a picture and got yelled at by security. But it was just kind of that all moment that everybody in the convention was able to share, whether or not they had even known he was coming, they were in the panel, or they were trying to actually get his autograph.
Probably what thrilled me most from being in that room was seeing Harrison Ford go all Harrison Ford. You know, Harrison Ford, I love Harrison Ford. You know, you can't go wrong with a Harrison Ford movie.
Right, right.
He has a reputation in interviews for maybe being a bit grumpy, a bit cranky. And so when you're in Hall H, it's a Q&A, and I was actually in the room 2 years ago when he made the surprise appearance for the last Star Wars movie.
Right.
But there was so much going on, and it was a last-second thing when they brought out him and Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher that they didn't really do a lot of Q&A with him. He didn't seem all that interested in the Q&A that was going on today with moderator Chris Hardwick, and that led to a tremendous moment where I got to witness a classic Harrison Ford stare down, and I was able to tweet it right after it happened at 10 News Lasky on Twitter. You can take a look and see this moment for yourself.
Stars Ryan Gosling, Harrison Ford, Ana de Armas.
And their utility, and we further develop those themes in the story. But I'm not going to tell you anything about it.
You don't have to.
Yeah.
I could come over and tickle you until you said something.
Bring it on.
Host and presenter Chris Hardwick was brutally murdered today inside Hall H.
I mean, he said bring it on. It would have, the only thing that could have made that moment even greater was, you know, get off my plane.
Right,
or
right.
something like that. Just classic Harrison Ford being Harrison Ford.
Right, yeah. I mean, when it comes to his movies and growing up with him, I think, for me, it's safe to say, had he thrown a punch at me, I would be happy. He can get angry, he can throw a punch. I mean, that just feels like an honor. Because it's
We
Harrison
joked
Ford.
last night on the show, like, you know, like Don Rickles, like insulting you. You
Right.
want to be insulted. Aubrey Plaza giving me the finger.
Yeah.
You wanted to do that. Yeah, you want Harrison Ford to punch you.
Harrison, if you're watching this right now, Chuck Jones Gallery, just
Come on down
please.
and just come punch
I
Mark.
need to walk away with some swag today.
I mean, all of us want to, but Harrison Ford actually has an open invite.
Yeah.
But it was so cool seeing him, and that wasn't the only kind of fun moment with him too. You know, the first time they showed Ryan Gosling up on the screen and he got ready to take a question, the cat calls from the women in the audience started going, and Harrison Ford actually said, and they didn't have his mic up at the moment, so I couldn't really capture it cleanly on audio, but he said, you know, can you keep it down? We're trying to work here. To Ryan Gosling as he's going through that. So that was a very, very cool a moment there. And then, of course, I mean, keeping the star power going, they go right from Ready Player One with Steven Spielberg to Blade Runner 2049 with Harrison Ford and Ryan Gosling, and right from that into the Justice League. And those stars decided to make a little bit of a different splash. I was able to race over. The security guard actually gave me a heads up moments before Ben Affleck and Gal Gadot came down that they were going to make a different entrance than the other stars were. So I was able to race over and kind of get up close. And then they asked Ben Affleck about his excitement about being Batman. I do want to warn you, you know, normally when you think 10 News, you think, of course, family show. This is internet, and Ben Affleck's choice of language was a little bit more adult. So hopefully at this point I've given you enough warning if you want to skip ahead in the video just a little bit. But for the next 30 seconds or so, Ben Affleck is going to get very acquainted with the letter F. Let's go ahead and roll Ben Affleck.
I'm so thrilled to do it. I know there's a misconception because I didn't direct it, that maybe I wasn't enthusiastic about it. It's fucking amazing. And I still can't believe it after 2 films. We have this history of this great studio, and you know, Kevin Tsujihara and Sue Kroll and Toby Emmerich have said to me, we want you to be our Batman, and you know, I believe them. And with Matt Reeves doing it, it's like I would be a fucking ape on the ground for Matt Reeves. Never mind being Batman. It's incredible. So I'm really blown away and excited, and it's a great time in the DC universe. You're going to see some stuff from Justice League that we're really, really proud of.
It's just kind of the vibe in Hall H. It's an authentic feel, and celebrities go and they like to be themselves and have fun with the crowd.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody who was waiting in line overnight, especially parents, were expecting to bring their kids in and sit down to that for, you know, the short time that it happened, but it was definitely, again, a wow moment for Warner Brothers, for sure.
Yeah, and they certainly made a big splash, and so those films will be coming out over the next several months and into next year. And it was neat going from Warner Brothers into some TV, including Netflix, making their first appearance. Of course, we had Will Smith here the other day. We brought you that here on the show. But Mark, you had an opportunity to be in there for Stranger Things.
Yeah, personal favorite of mine is Stranger Things. So there was a little degree of trying to keep the fanning out to a minimum in the press cage. But yeah, again, all the cast came out, showed everybody some new footage in the trailer for the 2nd season coming out this October, and we had a bit of a returning guest of the show come back and jump into the fan question and answer session, kind of break things up, as well as some other highlights with Matthew Modine, who plays Dr. Brenner, if any of you can remember the white-haired doctor who's a little sinister walking in the background. When you see him, you'll know him. And of course, another big moment was Patton Oswalt moderating the panel, having a little bit of fun with one of the lead actors over his very unique name. So we have a big highlight reel that we'll just go ahead and roll for you there and enjoy. Psych, we're going to cut it short. But that was actress Shannon Purser, who played Barb, of course, in season 1 of Stranger Things, coming back and kind of taking the cast by surprise for a little Q&A and demanding where her character is in the 2nd season. So
yeah, it's such a huge hit show. In fact, at one point I was walking down 5th this afternoon and saw people screaming and looking pretty much straight up, almost right across from where we are here at the Chuck Jones Gallery. And I said, who's up there? And sure enough, it was 3 of the younger members of the cast of Stranger Things who are on a hotel balcony, way up on like the 11th floor, just waving down at fans. And those are those kinds of Comic-Con experiences that people have.
Right, it's pretty crazy. When I got here originally on Thursday, some of my friends who were staying at a hotel immediately sent me pictures of one of the cast members from Stranger Things right next to them in the elevator and just said, hey, who is this kid, for a second? And I had to explain to them, you need to be a little more starstruck than that. But yeah, just running into people who are on these hit shows that everybody loves. It's been crazy so far. And actually coming out of that panel, another star from Game of Thrones, actually, John Bradley, who plays the character Samwell, of course, he was walking out of there just trying to get out of there as quick as he can without being, fluttered with too many selfies. So it was kind of incredible to be exposed to all this great fan service from a show and see it kind of continue afterwards like that.
Yeah, and we've been sending you lots of those moments on 10news.com, on 10 News Facebook. I've been tweeting them out. Mark's been tweeting them out. You can follow me at 10 News Lasky. It was funny as I was getting into the convention center today, and I didn't cue this up, but I tweeted out a picture of some incredible cosplay from some Lord of the Rings fans. It was 3 women who had dressed up, 2 of them as male characters, which were a lot of fun, but it was just exquisite. One of them was dressed as, I believe it was Thorin the dwarf, had the full beard going on and looked great. So I just took a picture and tweeted it of this Lord of the Rings cosplay, and then literally 2 minutes later, I'm walking through the convention center, and I see Andy Serkis, who played Gollum in the Lord of the Rings movies and has gone on to Planet of the Apes, and he was there signing for I'm not sure what show, but it was just kind of a strange coincidence that I went from Lord of the Rings to kind of open my day with my first tweet, and then seeing that, and I tweeted that out at 10 News Lasky as well.
Right, yeah, and of course early this morning a lot of the stars were still kind of making their rounds. Like you said, Andy Serkis, he actually dropped by Hall H from what I saw this morning and just started interacting with fans. Some of them were really still sleepy, so they kind of just like either ignored him or shoot him away, it looked like. But just, yeah, having those moments where a celebrity drops out and says hi to everybody, it's been really great so far.
Yeah, sorry, Mark retweeted somebody who said we're trying to get some sleep here, basically. He had it in English parlance. But
it was the, if you watched earlier, an Englishman in SD waiting in Hall H all day, and he gave us a little extra coverage of what was going on in the line very early this morning as everybody was trying to catch some Z's. So
all right, let's jump back to Stranger Things, because it wasn't just about the panel in Hall H and the star pair there. It's also about their Offsite fan experience here.
Right. And as you see, the line behind us has been there pretty much all day and still growing at times when they open it up and allow more people in. And it's very slow moving. It's one of those Offsite events that has been packed for the 3 days that have gone so far, and as long as they're open tomorrow, it's probably going to be that way. But we actually were able to go out and speak to one of the people who were waiting in line, and coincidentally, they are local, despite a lot of the criticism that San Diego Comic-Con is not local anymore. We found somebody, and we have some footage of that moment with you to share.
You were waiting in line for a while?
Yes.
Yeah, quite a while.
How long?
About 4 hours.
Was it worth it?
It was pretty cool. It was a cool experience. I don't know 4 hours, but definitely worth going.
What did you see when you were up there?
A lot of props and scenes from the TV show.
They gave out free pretzels, and there were 3 kind of like sections you could go in.
So they had it all sectioned off, and you can get in the pictures, 3 different shows. So it was pretty cool.
So, like I said, I mean, that was actually just an hour before, I think, we went on air. So that's not too long ago, and it's not going to get short anytime soon. It looks like.
I mean, this line is still here behind us. There's folks walking around as we keep peeking out through the windows to do some of our own people watching, even while we're live on the show. We did promise you some special guests. Had the opportunity to do some interviews today with some entertaining folks. That's kind of one of the fun things for me, is sometimes you get to interview movie stars and all that, and sometimes you get to interview people who make you laugh, or in this particular case, have a really great laugh. I had the opportunity to chat with some of the stars of the upcoming show Future Man, which you'll be seeing soon on Hulu. It's got kind of an interesting plot, and I had a chance as part of that to talk with the guy who's the executive producer, creator of the show, Seth Rogen, who's actually been here for a Comic-Con a number of times. We actually talk about that in the interview, and he shared with me his thoughts about Comic-Con and coming down here, and a few moments of that classic Seth Rogen laugh. And then I also got to talk with Josh Hutcherson, who of course starred in Hunger Games, was here for huge panels for that, and he kind of told me about what it's like for his perspective being here at Comic-Con. So here we go, Seth Rogen and Josh Hutcherson.
What's it like when you're down here? I know you've been here before, but what's Comic-Con like for you?
I like Comic-Con. Have you been to a lot of Comic-Cons over the years? Third year, yeah. My 10 years ago was my first time coming to Comic-Con. I've probably been to like 6 of them, maybe, or 7 since then. They don't give a shit what we do in comparison to a lot of the other stuff that's shown here. I've never been here with anything that has a budget that's like 1 iota of the stuff that like people are lining up like overnight for. But like,
that kind of making fun for you, because there's kind of no pressure to be in one of those.
Less pressure, to be honest. But this show specifically, I think, more than almost anything I've done, will really speak to people who are at Comic-Con. So
tell us about it.
Well, it's about a video gamer who wishes he was special and not a janitor. Not to say janitors aren't special, but he doesn't feel special. And he beats a video game, and he's the first one to beat it, and then people show up from the future telling him that he is the savior of humanity, and he has to time travel to stop mankind from being wiped out.
Sound pretty Comic-Con-y.
Comic-Con-y. That was in our pitch.
What do you think of San Diego when you're here?
I like San Diego. A lot of, it's warm on the water. What do you say?
It's a loaded question. You don't want to get in trouble for saying San Diego sucks to the local TV news.
It's got a great climate, right? And, wow,
it's very moderate, temperate. People are not.
Didn't mean to hire you for the Chamber of Commerce. Thanks, guys.
You've done the Comic-Con thing before with big projects. What's Comic-Con like for you?
It's always a whirlwind. I never know what I'm going to see, who I'm going to see, what kind of crazy costumes there's going to be. It's just always a madhouse of chaos in the best way possible. Just fandom at its like highest point, and it's amazing to be around. Yeah.
What kind of reactions do you get? What responses, interactions do you get with fans? Because obviously they're all out here to see folks like you.
Yeah, they're great, man. They are so passionate, and the fact that there are so many people that are lined up everywhere, it's just they're excited. They're excited to be here, and it's always great to see that passion and people just living it and getting it all. So it's really great.
How is Comic-Con different from other events that you typically do?
Oh man, it's the most like fan based. You know, it is really based in honoring those who love the work that we get to do. And so for me, it's just about interacting with them and getting able to support that madness that they have that lets us do our jobs. Yeah, thank you.
So it's really neat to take a few moments and get to talk with those guys. And you never know when you do a celebrity interview what they're going to be like. I've done celebrity interviews where you're like, okay, I could have just been a brick wall that they were just talking to and there's no interaction. But, whether you like Seth Rogen and his movies or not, and they're not for anybody. I've liked a lot of his movies. There's some. He seems like a genuine guy. He's right. Seth Rogen. So it was kind of cool to have, kind of like we were talking about earlier with, like the moment with Aubrey Plaza or whatever. It was really neat to have a conversation and feel like, yeah, I'm talking to Seth Rogen.
Yeah, it was cool that despite what people might think of Seth Rogen and the impression he gives off with his comedy sometimes, he just kind of goes out there and one-on-one interviews just, hey man, I'm here. This is how it's going to be. I know what to do. That's
and
cool.
It's a totally strange kind of situation, too, because, just to give you some background, you probably saw the Comic-Con backdrop there. So the interview that I did was in what they call a press room, and it's basically kind of like a mini red carpet. So you have all this entertainment media. I was next to iHeartMedia on one side, BuzzFeed on the other side, as, TV news guy who's usually at traffic accidents and SWAT standoffs. It's a totally surreal experience for me to be on one of these red carpets, but that was kind of the fun in talking with Seth Rogen too, as I said, hey, I'm the local TV news guy who never does stuff like this, right. and he was just genuine and rolled with it.
That's good that he was genuine. Maybe you might have been able to get him to go out and cause some actual news for the station back home, and then the synergistic thing would have taken over, and hey, we're here, this is what's happening. Yeah,
it would have ended up being live awesome. Instead of bringing this to you on on the website and on Facebook. Speaking of genuine, that's a good way to transition to. It's for me my highlight every year. I love the TV show Impractical Jokers on True TV. They just came back with their new season right now. If you haven't seen the show, it's hard to describe, but I would say it's a reverse prank show. It's a reality show where these guys are out doing these kind of strange games and contests in the public, but they're not pranking the public. They're actually challenging each other. So they wear earpieces, and the other guys are trying to trip up the guy who's doing the challenge. And they have this tremendous relationship now with Comic-Con. They've been here each of the last 3 years, and I've had a chance to talk with them each year, and the events just grow and grow. And this year, they've taken over Petco Park.
Right, yeah. They're doing the Impractical Jokers block party, complete with autograph sessions, some Q&A with the Impractical Jokers themselves, and it's really just a massive fan event, free to the public, if I'm correct, and anybody can just walk into Petco.
Yeah, no badge needed.
No badge needed, and kind of just enjoy this surreal celebrity television event.
And the guys love being with their fans, too, so they're so interactive. And in fact, I had a chance to talk to them when we were way up in Petco Park. So there were more than 10,000 people down on the field, and we were kind of overlooking them, and they just couldn't resist just going out and waving and being with their fans. But I had an opportunity to interview 3 of the guys. Joe Gatto, who we had last year with a great Facebook Live on the 10 News Facebook page, is actually, he and his wife are having a baby any day, so he couldn't be here. But James Murray and Brian Quinn and Sal Volcano spent a few minutes chatting with me about the show, about being here in San Diego for Comic-Con, and I will point out at the very end there's a brief cameo appearance by my 6-month-old daughter Abigail, who I said it's a big fan favorite for our family, so my wife and baby were actually there. In fact, my wife was the one holding up the camera, recording it, and they, before we started, were actually joking around and kind of having fun playing with my baby. So you'll hear at the very end us talk a little bit, and you'll actually see my baby girl for just a moment. But here we go, my conversation with the Impractical Jokers. For starters, I mean, you guys have an entire baseball stadium dedicated to you guys. What's it like being out here in San Diego for Comic-Con?
It's surreal. You know, this is our second block party we've ever thrown. Last year we were blown away by it. So this time we got the whole stadium, and it builds up to tonight when we show a new episode of the show a week before it airs. It's probably one of the most amazing things we do each year. Like,
I mean, yeah, this is not, it's not normal. It's not a normal experience at all. So we're just as like having as much fun and just as surprising as everybody else here. So.
Yeah.
What's Comic-Con like for you?
Oh, I'm a huge comic book fan, so like I'll put on a mask and walk the floor and buy a bunch of stuff. I love it. I love it.
Is this different from? I mean, you guys obviously have a big fan base. You tour, so people see you everywhere. But is San Diego a different vibe for you guys?
In what way? What do you mean?
Just in terms of being here for Comic-Con and getting to do an event with your fans, is it different than maybe other appearances you do?
Yeah, this is like our Super Bowl. Like this is every as soon as we're done with this, we're planning next year. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So it's pretty exciting.
We look forward to it for all year, really, because we knew as soon as we finished last year, we knew about this, and so we've been anticipating it for a year.
Yeah. Can you describe for people the connection that you guys have to your fan base? Because having covered you guys out here for 3 years, you can see what the excitement you guys have just for being with them.
It's hard to describe it in words. It really is. It's like you feel like you know them. They feel like they know you. There's like this crazy, insane loyalty. Like, and I don't know. They're just so dedicated, and I think it's more than just like a fan thing. Like they feel like I think emotionally attached to us, and I think vice versa. Really.
Did you have ever imagined when you started pitching this program around now, 6 or 7 years ago, that you would be at an event like this and that it would have hit like this?
No, it never crossed our minds that it would have become this at all. You know, it's what you always you dream of, that a show will go many seasons. But when we first created the show, I don't even think we really knew what the show was, and we certainly didn't think that it would become this kind of family-friendly, family co-viewing show. And it's amazing. It's surreal. There's not a day goes by that the four of us kind of look at each other and we're like, I can't believe what we get to do for a living. It's wild.
And you guys were all working just kind of regular jobs, right?
When season one, we had 2 jobs. We did our day jobs and then did the TV show at night.
All right, let me ask you about some of the stuff from the show. The first thing I noticed as soon as you came out is you're missing the trademark hair.
Hair's gone.
I'm guessing you're not going to give us a spoiler, but is it something that we will see?
Oh yes, you will see it very soon.
Q missing his hair is related to the show.
Yes, yeah.
Is it painful for you, because every year it's like Q's getting shaggier and shaggier, more looking like a homeless guy every year. Was it painful for you to see it go?
No, I think it was time. I wasn't quite ready for it to go like it went, but it's not bad. I've embraced it.
You know what they say, if you love something, set it free, you know?
Like your eyebrows.
Yeah. Oh. And if it comes back to you, it was meant to be.
He didn't set those free. We set those free.
Yeah, right, exactly.
He liberated my eyebrows.
I loved his eyebrows, so I set them free.
I'm curious about the constant double dealing between all you guys. I just watched the Hawaii episode.
A lot of double crossing.
If I was involved in one of those, I would have loved it. Could you have possibly thought that it was a good idea to let them bury you in the sand? Like, did it not cross your mind that was not going to work well for you?
No, it was one of those ideas. I'm like, wouldn't it be funny if? And they're all like, yeah, do it, Mark, do it. Like, that'd be really funny in the intro. And then they left me there. And then I realized how stupid the idea was, But they're very convincing. They're like, yes, it's a great idea.
We've learned the art of talking to each other just with our eyes. Yeah. So like, I will turn to Q. He's like, oh, you guys should bury me in the sand. I was like, that's a good idea. Yeah. I look at him. We know it's on.
I'll be like, oh, I want to be buried in the sand. All right, he said it first, so he should have it.
So it's like an episode of Survivor. Like the alliances are constantly shifting, and you're working. I know you get asked all the time about limits. Has there ever been anything that has been pitched where you've eventually started working on, eventually been like, you know what, that we can't actually do that?
Yeah, we have a good system for that. If it's an idea for Murray, for Sal that we're not sure if he'll want us to do, I'll go to him.
Like if it's over the line.
Yeah, like when we broke into his house. I came to him and said, we're thinking of breaking into Murray's house while he's on vacation. What do you think of that?
Hysterical, do it. Meanwhile, I didn't realize that all is fair play.
Yeah.
So he was really giving me the litmus test, and then they broke into my house.
Yeah.
So now, ever since that happened,
Q and I looked at each other like,
Ever since that happened, whenever he asks me about anything, I'm like, you can't do that to Murray.
So Tom, I have one more question for you guys. I saw you guys shooting a little bit earlier. Are we going to see something San Diego-based end up on the show?
Well, we didn't film anything for the show here. This was all because it's so overwhelming. But I mean, we love San Diego, and if we had the opportunity, we would definitely film something here. I mean, we'd love to.
It's a thrill every year for us to hang out with you guys. Thanks for having some fun with us here.
Congratulations.
The Impractical Jokers, and our it's like the fifth Beatle, the fifth Impractical Joker, Abigail, hanging out with you guys. Thanks again.
Thanks. Good to see you.
Experience, honestly. I have met Colin O'Donoghue twice now, though the first time I really couldn't get any words. I sort of forgot my name, you know, it's a little Colin.
So can you describe kind of what it feels like to be able to go up there and not only get a gift, but a hug from him too?
That was awesome. That was all I wanted. This panel, Once Upon a Time, is like half of why I came to Comic-Con in the first place. That was just like my dream come true. That was amazing. And now it's gonna go on YouTube and I can watch it for the rest of my life.
Now you're gonna stay here for the rest of the day for the other Ballroom 20 panels. Are you a little like that? Is there? I mean, can the other panels make up for just now, or is this the highlight right there?
Absolutely not. But I'm actually here with my cousin. We're here as the Dark Ones. So she's the Dark Swan and I'm Dark Hook. And she really loves a lot of the things that are playing later. So we're just gonna sit here all day and watch all of the panels, and we're right in the front. So that'll be awesome.
Thanks for talking.
So there you see Emma at her first Comic-Con. She's never been to Comic-Con before. The first time she comes here, she not only gets a gift, she gets a hug with the character she dressed up as, actor Colin O'Donoghue.
I was glad that you were able to track her down to talk to her about that experience. Yeah. I mean, was she still like floating on a cloud from that?
Oh yeah, when you saw it there when we were talking with her, she was just livid. Like she was staying there for the rest of the day, and she has, I assume, stayed there for the rest of the day today to see other panels with her friend and everything. But I mean, just nothing would compare to that moment. And I'm sure going home, even a lot of the other fans who were able to receive gifts from actress Lana Parrilla and Robert Carlyle. Just those moments, they're going to stick with them, and to happen at the beginning of the day. At that point, just go to bed. Just skip the rest of Saturday. You got your moment, you got your gifts, you're good. Done. Yeah.
Well, we've had a lot of moments here at Comic-Con. We've done our best to bring them to you. You can see all of these clips that we've been playing you here on the show and many more all the way from Thursday, yesterday, into today at 10news.com. So check them out. Make sure you get a chance to see all of those great moments as well. And on the 10 News Facebook page as well. You can share them, comment. We'd love to know what you think. Comment on this show as well. You know, we'll take out the nasty things you're saying about me, but, you know, the good ones we'll look at.
I'm going to hide those ones. I'm going to exercise my social media power. I won't.
As a digital producer, you have that right.
I have that right. It's part of the job title, yeah.
Yeah, so check those out, 10news.com, 10 News Facebook as well, and you can see my tweets at 10 News Twitter. And we also want to thank once again the Chuck Jones Gallery, who've been tremendous hosts for us, giving us this incredible spot to broadcast in. For those of you who were with us Thursday night, we actually had Chuck Jones' grandson, Craig, came on with me. I geeked out for about 15 minutes talking about Looney Tunes, talking about the Phantom Toll Booth, the Grinch, all those great moments. You can see that on the 10 News Facebook page, 10news.com, all those great moments. So thanks to the Chuck Jones Gallery for having us down here and give us a home for Comic-Con. One more day of Comic-Con go
one more
tomorrow.
Day, guys. Yeah, I mean, you still have time to come out, enjoy the Offsite events. They're still going to be open tomorrow. A lot of the scene that is still here right now, including massive amounts of people behind us, will still be here on Sunday. Maybe not into the night as, you know, Friday and Saturdays go, but it's all still going to be happening here. So you guys got plenty of time. Check out the parking information if you're worried about that on 10news.com. We tell you where to park. It's not here, okay? Just go find some extra parking further away and maybe transit in via trolley, MTS bus. You know, use that public transportation.
And for our San Diego audience as well, Sunday can be a great day to come down just because there are not as many people. Right. There isn't as much craziness. So if you're a local and you stay away from the gas lamp, as so many wisely do, you know, we had our survival guide on 10news.com for you, and one of the things was, you know, places to avoid. Sunday can be an easier day to come down and be able to do some people watching, but maybe not have quite the insanity that we're seeing here on Fifth Avenue behind us.
Yeah, definitely outside and inside. If you're worried about the inside traffic, it's going to be a lot less people packing up and going home. So, yeah, if you've been worried all weekend about what you're going to do here just because of the crowds, Sunday shouldn't be a problem for you. It's going to be great. Yeah.
And it's been great having you here, hanging with us here for our show. Keep watching all the other content, and we will see you coming up with our continuing coverage from Comic-Con. Keep an eye on our tweets tomorrow, and hopefully we'll be able to do more great shows for you for years to come right here, live from Comic-Con for 10 News.